Hi, I'm here with Ivars Rungis, consultant, trainer, outsource project manager, and member of the board of the Latvian National Project Management Association.
Yeah, hello. I think most important one is possibility to monitor all the projects that are running in an organization, in a bank. So basically, monitoring and replanning whenever it's needed. Okay. Look, project portfolio management software is a tool for strategic management. It's for top management. So this tool is showing where we are going in our progress, in our development, in our projects. So basically, it's let's say we can say like a right hand for top managers whenever they are thinking about development or whenever they are thinking, are we on the right track? So portfolio management software actually is a quite strategic one, quite strategic tool because this is how we are realizing our strategies in organizations, in the companies. So basically, whenever there is a shareholders meetings, whenever there is a strategic management decisions made, whenever there is a planned strategy for what we should be doing in a company, we need to monitor it. We need to track and the progress of our activities, development activities, so that we understand, are we on track? Are we reaching the goals that we are setting in top management or not? So that's why it's very important to have it. But I think it's like the same as any tool. It's makes some kind of clarity of things what we want to do, and it makes an order of things. Usually, when we are not having any tools, different people are using different approaches and different tools and different systems, and look to the same things from different perspectives, and it's very hard to put them on like the same goal and to the same target. So software, if you're talking about PPM software, then it's put in order everything that we are having regarding strategy. So it puts in order demands or goals for a project. It puts in order project management itself, like tactical approaches, how we are doing it. It manages to have immediate decisions when it's needed, to react on different kind of changes and impacts that we are having from a market. So tool is making, let's say, things in ducks in order. That's why it's needed. I think everybody would agree. Majority, it's like IT projects.
Mhm.
Majority of projects that we are having there is somehow related to IT change
Mhm.
in our systems, because whenever we are willing to implement new feature in internet bank, or to create a new credit card, or a new type of loan, or whatever else kind of financial service products, we are talking about changes in the systems, and there are bunch of systems in the banks, hundreds of systems. So basically, each requirement, each change needs IT change, and IT team is largest team usually in a project, between project team members. So it's we are talking about IT approach. Of course, there are process changes, there are new product implementation projects, different other kind of projects. However, IT will be majority or basic part of it. Putting things in order, like for a portfolio managers, it means that there is a place where every project manager can report their status of projects. For a portfolio manager, it means automatization of data that is coming in from project managers. It makes life much more easier for project managers to not to have this communication in other places and in let's say more bureaucratical ways. So for again for portfolio managers, if you are looking on PPM tool, it's a place where I can track the data and I can get the data out. So if I'm a portfolio manager, it's very easy to understand where our organization is moving to. If, for example, there are changes in priorities, or we are not following priorities that we have set or our management has set, because there is just not qualified resources or resources are not qualified exactly for this change. It means that portfolio manager is the first person who sees that there is need shift in our competencies, in our resources. So different kind of data we are seeing when all project managers are sending their status data about their projects, and we can work with it, so we can make strategic decisions. At first, I would suggest really to find one that suits for them the best. At first, understand the processes, what they're having or what they want to have regarding portfolio management, and then to look for a tool. This is first advice. Second advice, whenever you are on the track for seeking software for a portfolio, I'm always suggesting to play around and to pilot it with a smaller scale of projects or with a smaller scale of information if projects are not so many in organization, but to, let's say, to make some kind of like piloting before we are going and making a final decision, because these nuances, these features of software tool, it means a lot. It can happen that software is just is not possible to change in the way our organization culture works, in the way how we have used to communicate between management and project managers and employees. So it's very important to understand if the tool is providing all the necessary features, if tool is fitting to our culture or to our organizational culture. And for that reason, piloting or testing out before buying, this is a very important thing. Basically, I would say strategic management in general, but we should understand that in top management, there are very often some person, some board member, some executive board member is responsible for development activities. Somebody is having into his or her hands projects and development activities, strategy of the organization. For this person, this is a crucial to how PPM tool, because this tool is providing online data for all strategic management so that we can make right decisions. Nowadays, if you are looking on outside organization to the market, to what is happening in economical social environment, changes are appearing so often and so many. So it means the data and the communication should be very, very fast. And we should react very fast to the market changes and the market demands. So this communication speed becomes very, very important. And so this strategic person or persons in the board, they just need it. It's like without that, nothing will happen. We can talk a lot about strategies, but it will be long story. It will be slow story. Tool is helping to make it. First, let's understand what is the difference between different approaches. We tend to think that there are very different processes that we should apply if we are going into agile or we are going into waterfall or we are doing it in a hybrid approach. but actually the process is quite similar. And how project managers work in one or another environment is maybe slightly having slightly differences, but in majority it's the same process. So it means that the same system can be used for different approaches. If you are choosing to go for a waterfall, for example, and in realization phase, when IT development team is starting to program, for example, for our projects, it's very useful to change it for agile approach, to have like a weekly or bi-weekly releases, to have everyday morning meetings, to have procedures or this culture of agile approaches or agile teams. It's very important to have it. So, but it doesn't mean that we should change somehow our process, how we are doing it. We are having the same meetings. We are reporting the same issues. We are reporting the same statuses to higher management and middle management and then higher management. So basically, one tool is enough to have any kind of project management approach. And what is important is to understand that the differences is only scalability. If you are looking for PPM software, then it means that software should be flexible enough to have small iterations in the same pool of projects together with long-term iterations or long-term projects. And so, yeah, this is flexibility that is needed probably, but nothing else. Yeah, it's sometimes very, very hard to decide. There are different approaches. You can have strategic projects in a portfolio, and you can create like service packs or a pack of little items, because to have a separate project manager who is reporting about activity that is happening for, I don't know, 2 weeks, probably is quite a waste of the time, or waste of energy, or waste of documentation and bureaucracy. And so sometimes it's very wise to combine, let's say, 10, 20, 50 items into under one umbrella, or let's say under one person management, to call it as a service pack or some kind of a bigger chunk of a project, and to have one person who is organizing all 20 items in one go. So to have like the same management, the same release, the same team who is working on it. So this is one approach. Basically, it doesn't change anything from software perspective. Another approach would be to state like a Pareto principle. We are spending our resources mostly on a big projects or important projects or beneficial projects for our company, for our organization. But then in the software to divide, let's say, 20% of our time or 10% of our time for something that is not top priority, but that is urgent. And sometimes this is also a decision that management can make to have. So basically, in software, we are deciding, or we are dividing priorities versus urgency of small things. And in this way, we are ensuring that our small items or bug fixes or new little features are implemented, and they are not competing with our strategic product. There is always challenges with integrations. It's definitely as more export possibilities, import-export possibilities system is having, as better, of course. We can use some kind of standardized tools for getting data in and out, and in a specific formats. And for what we need to integrate, it's basically, I could say, like three vectors of data. We need to gather information from project manager, so it should be integrated together with ongoing projects on daily basis. This is one. Another one is to have reports. not only for strategic management, not only for top managers, but we need to have data out in different ways, in different views. So this portfolio data is very valuable, and we need to work with it. So reporting system or getting out this data in reports is very important. And the third one is basically, I could say, program level, or we could say it's process level or product level. Business needs to understand when and what they will get. So integration with our sales and strategic no, financial data is important as well.
Okay. Now, have you seen organizations try to do project portfolio management without a specific tool, like using Excel spreadsheets?
Yeah.
And do people still do that? What are some of the pitfalls there? What's your advice for these people?
Yeah, they still do that, and I think this Excel sheet is very good for beginning phase. When you don't know what kind of processes and data you want from portfolio as a process in general, then it's good to have something to play with, to understand what would work for us, what kind of information we want. Do we need a prioritization or not? Are we scaling different business departments and applying resources according their income or not? So basically, there is a lot of information to play around, and the Excel sheet is quite good for that. But it's manual, so it's manual, and that's the biggest problem of Excel sheet. So every time and whenever project managers should report, they are reporting manually, or they are correcting their data in Excel sheet. So automatization of data is important. Whenever there is a manual work, it becomes boring, and project managers just don't want to work with it. So communication, collaboration, and data automatization is benefits that we are having when we are having a system.
Right. Now, I would imagine that the Excel approach doesn't scale very well either. You might start out in the
Yeah,
beginning doing that, but when you have several people involved in a project and you need to compare projects 1 year later, for example, then you're in trouble.
of course, of course.
Can you talk about that?
Uh, to like it's I think it's quite obvious. If we are having okay, we can have versioning in using a SharePoint or whatever else in for Excel sheets. However, online data that we are working in a top management as a portfolio managers. Um, any change is just dramatically impacting our next movement, our next projects, our next activity. So if we are not having it on demand and with Excel sheet, it's not possible. So it's basically calling the project manager. And if you are having 200 project managers, so what you will be doing then? Like it's come on, it's like a nightmare. It's not a feasible solution. As I said, for testing it out, for playing around it, fine. But for working and normal working, it's no way.
Okay. That was very useful. Thank you, Ivars.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. And thank you for joining us.